Hi, my name is Jock Houghton and I'm from 4c.com. Welcome to my Thinking English YouTube channel and welcome also to AEA, Advanced English Acquisition.
With Advanced English Acquisition, learning English is as easy, or as difficult, as ABC. We have 3 tracks. Track A, Advanced English Acquisition. Track B, Business English. Track C, Conversational English. Today, we're looking at Business English, practical skills, and language. And this is video 3 in the series. Today, we're talking about salesmanship. So what does salesmanship mean? Well, if you look at a business dictionary, you'll get the following definition. The practice of identifying and satisfying customer needs through a process that is efficient, fair, sincere, mutually beneficial, and aimed at creating and nurturing a productive long-term relationship. That's fair enough, but I tend to disagree with it somewhat, because salesmanship is not necessarily about creating a long-term relationship. You can utilize salesmanship for a short one-off sale, but salesmanship is quite often tied together with long-term relationship deals. However, let's give a slightly different definition of salesmanship. For me, salesmanship is the ability to convince people that they can trust you to help them to make the correct buy decision, because they believe you can identify, understand, and satisfy their requirements in a way that will be efficient, fair, sincere, ethical, effective, and mutually beneficial. Those last points are the key points. Efficient, ethical, mutually beneficial is all very important to remember when you're trying to sell something, is to be fair, to be ethical, and to make sure, as far as you can, it's a win-win situation. So, where does salesmanship come from? Well, the first thing you need is talent. The second thing you need is the right attitude. Training helps. Experience and confidence, of course, are very helpful. Application, we need to think about that. Determination, customer focus, and the last one is we have to be thick-skinned. And I'll explain all of these in a moment. Right now, though, what we have to consider are the 2 most important ones, for me at least, are talent. You have to have the native talent to do this. And the next one is customer focus. It's all about the customer. It's not about you. It's not about your boss. It's not about the quarterly or annual figures. It's not about your company or your corporation. It's all about the customer. We'll explain that in more detail a little later. For the moment, though, let's look at salesmanship and where it comes from. And this is the first of the blue screens. I'm not going to go through this in detail, but this tells you about the core verb to sell. That's where sales and salesmanship comes from. So have a look through this screen. Feel free to pause, have a look through it, and look at, for example, the phrasal verbs and some of the noun phrases that we use using the verb to sell. But for us, what does salesmanship mean? What does the verb to sell mean? Well, it means to attempt to find paying customers for your company's products. It's that simple. It means to convince people that your product is good, reliable, affordable, and does what they need it to do. And to sell means to close deals which will be profitable for your company. Remember profitability. Profitability is key. If you want to make a sale that makes no profit, you need to think about that. It does happen. Sometimes the boss wants it because he needs a particular figure. But profitability should always be the aim. Here's another blue screen. I'm not going to go through this in any detail, but this looks at the noun, sales. It's largely a plural noun. You can look through that. And singular noun is used to talk about quantities. Have a look through this. you'll find out more about sales and salesmanship. But for us, the noun sales means three things. It's the activity of finding paying customers for your company's products. Sales is what you do. Sales are the people or department in an organization responsible for the revenue stream. So sales, a noun, is the group who do sales. Hello, I'm in sales, for example. And lastly, we can use the word sales, the noun sales, as the measure of a company's financial performance. This company did sales of $1 billion last year. So that's what the noun sales means. So let's go back to discussing salesmanship and where it comes from. For me, the most important one is talent. The thing is that everyone has got some talent in sales. When you're a very young child, you learn some very basic sales techniques with your parents. You say to your mother, for example, "Hey mum, could you buy me this new bike? And if you do, I'll promise to be very good and I'll take the trash out every day." That is sales, pure and simple. You are coming to a deal where you offer something in exchange for something else. So everyone has some talent in sales. But most people, many people, don't have a lot of sales talent. However, quite a lot of people end up one way or the other in sales. Wherever you are facing the public and exchanging money for goods of whatever sort, then that is sales to some extent. So, like this old guy, he's running a stall somewhere, trying to sell his wares to passers-by. That is selling, but it's relatively low-level selling. At the higher end, of course, some people make an awful lot of money out of selling. If you're selling big products, big ticket items, big projects, there's a lot of money on the table, and hopefully, at the end, a lot of money in your pocket. But all of that, for me, is driven by talent, and talent covers a whole pile of different things. And one of them, of course, is the next thing that we're talking about, attitude. Some people believe that having an aggressive attitude is the way to go. I must admit, I can't agree with that. Sometimes aggression can pay in very specific circumstances, but by and large, I would always recommend to be nice. It's that simple. To be nice, be kind, be gentle, be cooperative, be supportive, and be helpful. Being aggressive, for me, usually that's pushing too hard. On the other hand, of course, what you don't want to do is have a very laid back, uninterested, who cares kind of attitude. You have to be positive. Positive for yourself and positive for your customer. Attitude, you have to get the attitude right. Everyone sells in a different way. Everyone has a different personality. For me, though, I would say don't be too aggressive, but equally, don't be too passive. The next thing we're looking at is training. There are probably millions of sales training companies around the world. Some of them follow specific authors or specific ideas or specific approaches. Some of them tailor what they do to suit your requirements or your company's requirements. The question really is, how valuable is training? For me, the answer to that is, if you're starting out in sales, training is excellent. It can show you some specific rules, it can give you some good guidelines, it can help you to build your sales process. For other people, training can be more of a question mark. They say, why on earth do I have to do more training? I've been in sales for years. The advantage of training is that it takes you out of the live sales activity for a day, for example, and gets you to stop and think. For me, that's the key thing about training. Training isn't necessarily about the content of the training itself. It's a way to help you to refocus on Sales, the sales process, the way you do it, the way you think about it, the way you feel about it. Training can help you take a step back and rethink about what you're doing, how you're doing it, and how well you're doing with it. Training can help just to press the reset button and help you to say, maybe I can change and make things better. And of course, part of all of this is experience. The problem with experience is it just takes time. And the more experience you have, the easier it is to cope with strange things that happen, unusual things that happen, awkward customers, awkward situations. There is no replacement for experience. Experience is a fantastic part of your armory. It gives you a whole set of tools. The great thing about experience is you have it, you keep it, you retain it. I would always suggest that you share it as well. If younger people are coming in and starting out, then you can help them by giving them the benefit of your experience. And your experience can also help you deal and manage with the stuff that the customers are wanting. Now then, part of experience is confidence. The more experience you have, by and large, the more confidence you can have. But having confidence, being confident, is really the core of being a good salesman. Being confident enough to talk to anyone about what it is you're doing. So you have to be confident in yourself. You have to be confident in your company. You have to be confident in what it is you're selling. You have to be confident in what you know about the sector that you're in. The more you know, the more experience you have, the easier it is to be confident. But you should always try to seem confident. And you should also try and avoid being overconfident or seeming to be overconfident. People don't like people who are too strong. But being confident is key to making progress in sales. But so too is application. Now, don't get confused here. An application or an app is what you find on your phone, but the word application in English simply means working hard, focusing on something and working hard at it. And that is something you will certainly find in sales. Sales is all about application, working hard to find the customers, to find the right solution for the customers, to find the right way to convert the customer to a client. And that, of course, also takes determination. There's a lot of questions asked, or there are a lot of questions asked about sales and how pushy should you be, how aggressive should you be. We talked about this a little bit earlier on under attitude. My view is you shouldn't be very aggressive, but you should be very determined. Determined to make sure that what you do is the best that you can do and the best for yourself, for your customer, and for your company. So determination is absolutely essential to being successful in the sales environment. And then we come to what I think is the second most important of all of these, customer focus. You have to make sure that the customer comes first in your mind. It's not about your money, and it's not about your boss, and it's not about even the profit. It's about making sure that the customer gets what the customer needs, what the customer wants. It's all about service. It's all about delivery. It's all about making sure that you are the guy the customer wants to do business with. And if that's what you want to achieve, which it should be, then customer focus is key. Making sure that you know what the customer is talking about and that you can deliver everything the customer needs. And the last thing that we're going to discuss here is being thick-skinned. This is an interesting one. The problem is that most people regard sales as some kind of inferior environment. Someone who isn't an engineer, someone who isn't a creator, just goes out and sells. For me, that is nonsense. Sales is the second oldest job there is. Sounds like a strange thing to say, but think about it. The very first job was creating a food supply, being a farmer or being a hunter, but your job was to go out and find food. After a short while, however, it became true that good hunters or good farmers grew more food than they could eat and than their family could eat. And so they needed to take that food and make it available to other people in exchange for something of value. So a farmer and a hunter, as soon as they had more than enough, either they or a member of their family became a salesman to sell their product or exchange their product for something of value. So being a salesman is an ancient profession, and it's a very good and rewarding profession, and it's should be a very reliable profession, because you should be a good sales guy. But a lot of people don't necessarily see things that way. They regard sales as being less than ideal, and they make comments. And they will also say no. One of the great things about being a salesman is you have to face people, accept that they say no, and move on. Don't let it affect you. Be thick-skinned. Make it just as if it's water flowing off your back. It doesn't matter. Move on.
Hi. So now we're going to look at the question, how can we be successful at sales? And to do this, we're going to introduce some new and interesting additional vocabulary. The first word that we need to think about is prospecting. Prospecting means looking, hunting for new customers. And this is one of the key, most important things about selling. You can get extremely busy. You can have a portfolio of 10, 12, 15 customers who keep you running all day, every day. But there can't be any excuse. Some of those customers will fall out, some of those customers will buy, and you need to have new customers, new prospects to replace them. So no matter how busy you get, you have to keep looking for new customers, prospecting. And that will help you to build a pipeline. The most successful guys, the most successful salespeople, are those who have a constant flow of new potential customers coming through in a pipeline. Pipelining, building not what you need for this month or this quarter, but for next quarter and the quarter beyond and next year. Building your pipeline is the secret to continued success. The next thing is to qualify to a close. Whenever you have a customer, you should qualify them all the time. Is this customer serious? Can I provide exactly what he needs? Is it likely that he will spend his money with me? You're busy. You're always busy. Busy with customers, busy pipelining, busy prospecting. What you can't afford to do is waste your time with customers who you believe ultimately won't give you the money for whatever reason. You have to qualify all the time and ask yourself the question, am I spending my time with this customer wisely? Is he likely to spend his money with me? You can't be sure. There's always competition, but you have to always qualify to make sure you're not wasting your time. Always ask the question, is this going to happen? And if you think the answer is no, well, perhaps it's time to move on to some new customer where it is more likely that you're going to win the deal. The next one is a technique. consultative selling. I always believe that when you're selling to people, what you should do is help them, advise them. If necessary, even tell them, I'm sorry, I don't think I can give you the best solution for what you need. I would recommend that you look at these other rival companies. Why would you do that? Well, the reason for that is, once again, you can qualify yourself out if you believe that someone else can provide a better solution. Excuse me. But more importantly, you become his friend, you become his consultant, you become his go-to guy, so that you can be a trusted partner. And hopefully, even if you say, I'm sorry, I don't think I can help you with this deal, then he'll remember you and say, that guy is very good, he's very nice, he's very helpful. Maybe for future programs, I can get him involved. Building relationships is what sales is all about, and consultative selling is one way to do that. This is perhaps the most controversial of all these statements I'm going to make here. Never close a deal. A lot of sales training, a lot of sales discussion, a lot of sales manuals will tell you to close, close, close. And actually, in certain areas, that's a good idea. If you're selling one-off, easy, short-form sales, then trying to close a customer when he's with you, when he's available, actually, that is a good idea. So when I say never close a deal, I'm really talking about bigger, complex deals. Those deals should close themselves. This is the whole point. If the deal is right, if your relationship with the customer is right, if everything is the way it should be and your solution is the best solution for what he needs, and he is convinced that that is true, the deal will close itself. To close a deal means putting pressure on your customer. And if you have a good, strong, personal relationship with the customer, if you've become a consultative friend of your customer, then the last thing perhaps you need to do is put pressure on them. However, sometimes you may say, hey guys, it looks as if we're getting to the end of this. What's your position? What do you think? Are we going to do this deal? Are we going to make this happen? But it should be a gentle question. It should never be a pressure push to close a complex deal. That's my opinion. I'm not saying it's not controversial. The next thing we need to think about is your inside sales. Whenever you're doing a long negotiation, evaluation, a big process, the key thing to do is to find someone in the organization you're selling to who agrees that you are the right answer, that you provide the correct solution. If you can find someone inside the organization to become your friend, your partner, you're part of the deal together, then he can help you to find out exactly what you need to know in terms of the money, the decision making, what's happening, what's going on, what's being discussed, who's the competition. You need to be ethical about this. You can't expect this guy to tell you secrets, and you can't expect this guy to do things for you which are, shall we say, underhand. And nor can you spend money on this guy and take him out for expensive meals and give him expensive gifts. That is not allowed. It never has been good, but these days it's not allowed at all. But you can still find an inside guy who believes that your product is the correct solution. He will then help to guide you through the whole process and keep you informed about how the deal is progressing. A hugely valuable, hugely important thing to do. The next thing to remember is never to sell your product. Always provide the solution. This is the key thing that you have to understand about selling. People are spending money, but they're not spending money on a product. They're spending money in order to either make more money or save more money. And that requires a solution. So never worry too much, never focus too much on the bells and whistles, the technical details of your product. Focus on the way what you can deliver, what your company can deliver, solves their problem, creates their solution. Towards the end of a deal, actually right at the beginning of the deal in the first place, you need to understand the decision process. Who makes the decision? You're unlikely to be dealing with the boss. You're going to be dealing with the people the boss has given the task of looking at this project, finding the correct solution, finding the correct product. But you need to know and understand who will make the final decision, who will sign the check. Once you know that, especially when you're working with your inside salesman, the guy we just discussed, then when you understand the process, when you understand who is the ultimate final decision maker, whose money will actually be spent, then you can work with your internal contacts, you can work with your structure to make sure that he is convinced that you are providing the right solution at the right time for the right price. Because this is the next thing that we need to think about: return on investment. Remember, when companies, businesses, people spend money, they are doing that in order to make money or to save money. It's the same thing. So what you always need to focus on is how your solution can pay for itself. Every company, every CEO looks at a potential deal and asks the question, what is the ROI? So here's a quote from me: never worry about how much money you're going to make on a deal. Always worry about how much money your customer is going to make or save through the solution you're selling. ROI is king.
As many of you will be aware by now, we always finish these videos with a few challenges to help you to improve your English, to improve your business English, and of course also to help you to improve your ability to do business in English. So here we have AEA Challenge 1, very simple. Simply go online and find an English language sales training company. Open your browser, open your search engine, type in sales training, and you'll find hundreds of them. Pick one that you like. And then we can move on to Challenge 2. Challenge 2 is very simple. Again, go through the website of the training company you have selected and write a summary of what they offer and the image they project. What kind of company is it? What kind of thing do they do? Once you've done that, that's a bit more of a challenge. Send them an email. Write an email to the company asking them 3 questions about their services and operations. Don't worry, you don't have to spend any money with them. Just ask them 3 questions about what they do and how it works. When you get a reply from them, then based on the information on the website and their reply to your email, create a short presentation about the company. How long it is entirely up to you, but just create a presentation about the company you're studying. And when you're happy with that, this is challenge 5, stand in front of a mirror or a real live audience if you can find one, and deliver your presentation in English. These exercises will help you to use some of the vocabulary we've looked at today, but also to understand a little bit more about the process of selling, sales training, and using English to do business around the world.
So, this has been a video about selling, about salesmanship. If you have any questions about the English and the vocabulary involved in this, or any questions about selling in general, then just send me an email, jock@4c.com. This has been an AEA presentation, Advanced English Acquisition, on the Thinking English channel on YouTube. Thank you very much, and I'll get back to you with some more, I hope, interesting stuff in a few weeks' time.